Welcome to the Fuck Around and Find Out podcast. It's a regular Tuesday show, and what we're going to try to do here is we're going to try to talk about outdoor cultivation. I'm not even going to joke with you. I am not sober at the moment. We're kind of celebrating getting the paperwork done on the new farm and new house. So, not exactly sober. And so I've talked to everybody else into being not exactly sober either.
Twist my arm.
So we're going to go ahead
and
and
try
try
to
to
prove anything.
Outdoor cultivation. As a special guest, we have, as a group, peer pressured my wife into being on with us. Everybody say hi.
Hello.
Hello. Hola.
Yeah, the super stabby wife is on. The myth and the legend.
This is the person that you know is when Feral runs from whenever we talk about anything.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's slightly feral. She's totally feral.
He's feral.
Yeah. No, my wife trains me. She just does this thing where, like, we'll be like, do you have PTSD from war? Nope. You have PTSD from work? Not really. What do you have PTSD from? My fucking wife. So you can hear her laughing. Well, because we did this, like, I taught her how to knife fight, right? Like a long time ago, because I didn't want my wife to ever be like, a victim, right? I was like, hey, if somebody comes up to you, here's how to shake. You want to stab it and do like a C shape. You want to be like a sewing machine, like the wheels on a train. Just stab, 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 right? Just go to town. Yeah. And so my wife's like, oh, this is fun. And her natural, like, crazy Mexican instincts took over. And it's been a party, don't you?
An immediate murder boner.
Next thing you know, people are missing ears.
So she's so I'll be like, it'll be like half awake, you're on your way to the restroom, and then next thing you know, your wife jumps out from behind the freaking thing and is like, stab, 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 stab. And you're like, holy shit.
Keeping you on your toes.
Exactly.
That's
but
right.
You never know. You could be carrying in groceries. You could be loving on your child. You could be taking your dog to go potty. Anything. You never know when your wife's going to stab you with like a highlighter in the freaking kidneys.
Cat.
A red Sharpie so you know it made contact.
I even do sound effects.
Yeah.
What's that one movie with the bathroom?
Yeah.
Your birds are like, yes, you're talking to me finally.
Uh-oh.
But,
Oh,
no.
Michael forgot to
Michael
keep his
dropped
phone on.
Yeah, he didn't keep it on. Hey, he's back. It's a miracle.
Awesome. There he is.
So we're talking about outdoor cultivation. Let's try to get back on track, guys. At least for the first 20 or so minutes of this shit show. So outdoor
60
cultivation.
seconds.
What sort of stuff have we have grown outdoors? Ultimately you're talking about like liberty caps, right? Where everybody's done liberty caps outdoors, right? Because that's basically where they grow. I think there's only been like one or two people who've done liberty caps indoors, and even then it's been like a sickly little grow. The liberty caps are super easy to propagate outdoors. I've done it.
That's the beauty of land strains.
Yeah. So you go ahead and you harvest your liberty cap. You can also there's quite a few people that are selling liberty cap liquid culture nowadays. Have you guys seen that?
I have. I
Liberty
think I have some laying around somewhere.
Yeah.
Really?
It just does.
I don't remember you telling me that, Trim.
Yeah, what the fuck, dude? And but it just doesn't really do like very well indoors. And I don't know if it's this temperature swings or if it just needs to have that mycelial root relationship with something growing. But I found that it really, really loves roses. So anywhere there's been roses, long time ago, allegedly, someone that named Feral allegedly, and it might not have allegedly been allegedly me, took a bunch of liberty caps that he found in the Central Texas region and mixed them. Yeah. And then mixed them with some buttermilk, some sugar, and some water, and blended them up really good, and let them sit with a bubbler in them for 3 or 4 days, and then took and strained that mixture into a the biggest. I think it was called like the Gladiator, but it was like the biggest camelback bladder. Yeah, the biggest camelback bladder I could. Because it's not uncommon to see people like hiking around Austin with a camelback. Yeah. And so I put it in there. And then as I went around 6th Street and up and down in all the touristy areas, everywhere there was something landscaped that was getting water to it, and it had rose bushes and stuff, I would just walk over there and just spray a little of this, spray a little of that, just kick a little hole with my heel, spray a little in the wood chips, and then close everything back up. And to this day, I'm the reason that there's just shit fucking tons of Liberty caps after every rain in the spring and in the fall all over Austin. So
Johnny Myco seed.
And then Johnny Myco seed. Can you imagine giving somebody a little swig of that camelback if they were thirsty? Yeah.
Dude, I ended up throwing that entire bladder away. You're not gonna get ever clean that. No. It smelled like dead mouse. It smelled like dead mouse. It was not good. Not a good thing. But it was fun. I mean, we put them pretty much everywhere. We covered a good 3 or 4 square miles of downtown Austin. So,
how much would you say that's successful?
Almost 100% success rate. Like, because you can go back to all the places that I was sober enough to remember that I was at, right? Now, obviously, it was a giant pub crawl, right? So we're going from bar to bar to bar to bar to bar. But everywhere that we found like rose plants or shrubs that had water to them, right? So not just dry land out there, a planter, but were actually in the ground. Hold on, child. We would we'd go out there and we'd kick a little hole underneath them and then spray some there and then put the wood chips back over the top of it. I'd say everywhere that I remember doing it, they've come up and they've gone crazy to the point where, like, if you go to the Asian gardens, like outside of that, like where they have like the rose garden, because it's covered like in the spring and the fall, like it looks like a mat underneath all the trees.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. I've probably gotten tens of thousands of homeless people high.
Right? So. You're doing good things for the world.
There's been a bunch of squirrels somewhere out there. They were really, really, really high.
Yeah. They're really enjoying the nuts that they're going after the fungus. They just go ballistic in the trees. That explains everything going on in Austin.
So that was my only real major intentional outside grow. I've done things where, like, hey, I have a cake that's covered in trich, but it colonized first, so I'm just going to bury it in the yard. Take the post hole diggers, take one little chunk out, dump the cake in the bottom, throw the dirt back on top, and see what happens. And I've had occasional mushrooms throw it from there. And then we had.
Well, go ahead. I was going to say I like throwing mine in the compost pile and see what comes up.
Yeah.
Well, that's
we had that place.
You're not
where
getting
we lived.
great.
Remember, we put them around the tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we
just
dumped all of this stuff around tomatoes
because you're burying them. If you were to leave them out in the bag or with the top open, what would happen is the UV would actually kill all the shit on top, but the mushroom mycelium is stronger.
I just tried that, and the fucking squirrels ate the bag.
Oh, okay.
Like, no. I literally just tried that, and the squirrels ate everything. They crawled inside the little bastard and ate everything, and then what they didn't eat, the wild, like, yard chickens that just run wild in this part of Texas, where there's like hundreds of chickens throughout the city, they ate the rest. So, like, yeah, the bag lasted like 24 hours outside.
All right. Well, there was no squirrel guarantee in that. In that.
You need to have defense measures in that area.
But what we would do is we had to get rid of all these spent cakes, right? And so we were just taking them and dumping them around our tomatoes and our pepper plants in our garden. And it got pretty deep, right? Like, because we just used them like people would build an igloo and just build like cake on top of cake on top of cake. And it worked good. Like, we had a shitload of those little roly-polies that would come out and eat the cake. But other than that, like, we had flushes every rain and everything looked great. And the tomatoes, I don't know what it was about psilocybin producing mushrooms and tomatoes, but by God, they love each other. The tomato plants were huge, 6-7 feet tall. Like, and I didn't do anything different. No fertilization, nothing else. It was just spent cakes, and they just really, really got along well. But yeah, that's it. That's all I've done as far as outdoor cultivation, intentionally.
Well, I mean, there's tons of things we could talk about. We could talk about the clay pots. We could talk about making beds on the side of the sheds.
So what are the clay pots?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
All right, clay pots. Basically, what you're doing is the huge planters. It doesn't have to be big, but you might as well make them big if you're going to have them outside. This is not a 2-month thing. You set it up right before spring, and you basically layer it like a lasagna. You're going to be putting mycelium, hay, grain. You're going to layer that shit up, and then you're going to cover it with cocoa coir, peat moss, whatever you want to do, and basically just sit it out there with all the rest of your garden pots, all your flowers. You can actually plant flowers in there.
That's cool shit.
And what's going to end up happening is during the course of the year, it's going to consolidate extremely well, and it's going to colonize it. And at the end of the year, after it starts to get cold and it gets a nice rain, you're going to come out one day and you're going to have ring around the rosy on that motherfucker. And what really works, the best one, believe it or not, is penis envy.
Oh, shit. So
Ness was just looking at the pots over here. She was like Googling the clay pots and like growing outside, and they have olas. You know what olas are? The big round pots that you would bury to like water plants. Do you know how olas work? Like the Native Americans use ola, right? So in desert areas, they would take these big round clay pots that are pretty thin, and they would bury them between the rows, and they would fill them with water and then bury the top of them, like put some animal skin or something over the top, and then the plant's roots would come onto the ola, and they would suck the water from the inside. But they would water on that way. It only watered the plants that they wanted without watering everything else, right? So she was looking at it, and these guys are taking olas and they're filling them with like grain spawn and substrate, and they're growing oyster mushrooms. And the oyster mushrooms, as we know, they'll fruit through the little filter patch, right?
Right.
Well, they're just coming out in a complete circle all the way around these olas, and they're just hanging them like outside, and they're just tying them up in like baskets and hanging them outside, and it's really, really freaking cool looking.
I mean,
that's what.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you're putting a casing layer on there because it's outside. You have to plant, so it needs to actually have the dirt on top so the plant can survive. It just makes, and when it starts to consolidate, that makes a perfect microclimate around that whole pot, and they go like gangbusters.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I think we're gonna try the Ola thing. It looks really, really neat. Like this is like this clay pot just completely covered with freaking mushrooms.
It'll give me an excuse to use my pottery wheel.
Yeah, we got the pottery wheel. We never done shit with it. We were gonna like recreate Ghost.
Yeah.
There you go.
Never even opened the damn pot. We've been too busy doing the house thing.
Except I don't think I remember in Ghost getting stabbed while making pottery.
As long as I don't turn my back on her, I'm okay. You got to keep eye contact with your Mexican.
Like a wild animal?
Yeah, like a wild animal. Yes. You got to keep eye contact, like red light, green light. She's super sweet as long as you're making eye contact. You break that eye contact, like a Wolverine. She's all over you.
Out goes the kid.
Anything out of norm, it's like What's wrong?
Exactly.
What's going on?
You give me fucking PTSD.
Like, he's like, my safe word is ow, ow.
No, the Ola thing looks really neat. So, anybody growing pans outside? I've seen a billion things about people growing pans outside, making specific garden beds for pans.
I was going to say, it would have to be specifically designed strictly for them because it has to have the certain casing on top and everything else. I can't see it being different than just a regular shoebox, but outside in the shade.
So here's my thoughts, and it's probably just the whiskey, but you know what, man, what are those? What's the type of gardening that I love to do? It's where I bury a shitload of wood. It's okay. Well, I suck. Give me a second. Let me drink some more. Man, I bury a shitload of wood. The guy.
With the logs and the hay, and it degrades over the course of the year.
Yeah, it has a very specific word for it. But what I do is I bury these logs, and then I put like some. So I have this giant log that's underneath the ground, and you know how logs, when they degrade, they turn spongy, right? And so it acts like a sponge and catches all the nutrients that you would normally be feeding your plants down in there, and all the water and everything. And so I dig like a trench, like 3 feet deep. I throw a big ass freaking bunch of logs down there, and then little sticks on top of that, and then a bunch of like either dead animals. A lot of times it happens to be dead pigs or squirrels or whatever's pissing us off at the moment. And then like some hay on top, and then all the dirt back on there. And it's Huglekulture. Huglekulture. That's what it's called. It's called Huglekulture. And you take the dirt and you pile it up on top like a pyramid, and you plant in the dirt. And then as the dirt and everything settles, it becomes level with the land, right? Well, I think you could do a Huglekulture bed and inoculate it with pans, because the bed is like 75% or so wood and decaying wood chips. And the rest of it's just nitrogen providing stuff, grass clippings, dead animals, and then some dirt. I wonder if you did that, and then you also use it as a garden where you're planting your, squash, like big leaf stuff that's going to cool the soil, over the top of it.
Yeah, because when you want
to gotta make sure it doesn't dry out for sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, what I've done, and I've always ran a drip line, over the top of it. I'm lazy. When I farm and garden, I don't want to go out there every day and stare at the stuff and water it every time. I put everything on timers and drip irrigation or the soaker hoses.
So you're telling me you don't like to go out there and stroke leaves?
No. Both of you talked at the same time, and my drunk brain couldn't keep up. Which one of you just called me an asshole?
That was me.
So, okay. But, I don't like to go outside and water each individual garden bed at every time. So I use these faucet timers.
Yep, they're handy.
Yeah, they're faucet timers. But what I end up doing is I build a manifold that screws into the faucet that'll have like 9 or so little faucet things off of it, and then each one of those faucet things, the faucet timers maximum can handle 3 different zones, right? So that gives me altogether like 27 fucking zones, right, off of one faucet, one outdoor faucet. And
nice.
it maybe cost me like $212 or so from Amazon to get all the pieces. And they use AA batteries. I never have to worry about them if there's a power outage. I don't have to worry about them anything else. I don't have to reset them. There's no problem at all. The AA batteries last for at least a year. And I'll put the link to the ones that I use in the show notes just so that everybody knows. They're cheap. They're like $22, $23. They're indestructible. I've hit them with the freaking lawnmower. They're good to go. You just has a little dial on the front. You turn to there's a little digital dial on the front. You turn it to the amount of time you want it on, the amount of time you want it off, the number of watering times you want it to go during the day. So you can set it to like, okay, I want it to start at 8 a.m. I want it to water 3 times for 5 minutes at a time. throughout the day, and it'll automatically do the math and divide it all up to sundown based on the little solar sensor that it has on it, right? So it won't water it at night or within an hour of sundown, so you don't end up with mold or anything else like powdery mildew or anything on your plants. So I love the damn things. I set them to stagger so that once watering starts at 8 a.m., watering for zone 1 goes to 8:05, and then watering for zone 2 starts at 8:06 to 8:08, and then or 8:08 to 8:12, and just goes on. Everybody gets water.
You basically have timer switches on every single zone then.
Yes, yeah. I never touch, and then once I set it all up, I don't touch it at all. That's it. The watering is done. Once your plants are in the ground, like your corn, your vegetables, your squash, everything like that, your pan science bed, once it's done, it's done. You don't touch it again the whole fucking season. It's done. All you do is go out there and harvest and stare at it lovingly through the window. Like there's no major inputs. As a farmer, you should have 2 busy days of the year: planting season and harvesting.
Yeah.
That's it. Everything else should be automated.
Okay, I live in farm country. There's a lot of busy days of the year. The rest of the year, you have to go to the cafe and bitch about how hard your life is.
Okay. Well, yeah, you've got to. That's part of it. You do have to bitch. But I mean, there should be only 2 really hard days a year, and those are really hard days. Those are, once everything's ready, it's ready, and it's got to come out of the ground right then. But other than that, it's like watching fucking grass grow. Like farming is growing vegetables and growing plants is very, very easy. Growing mushrooms in the ground, I imagine, would not be any harder. I would just mix them with plants. I would mix them with broadleaf plants. I wouldn't do corn because corn it grows too fast and it uses 100% of everything in the soil.
Yeah, it's sucking nitrogen out and everything.
Yeah, it's corn is fucking a tumor on the land.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yep.
I mean, it takes everything out of the soil. It takes every bit of nitrogen, every bit of organic waste, everything to make, because the original corn plants, they came from the slopes of Peru, right? Like South America, like the Peruvian slopes. And the original corn was only a plant that was about 12 inches tall and made a bundle of kernels at the top that looked very similar to a wheat plant. It would have like 5 or 6 little kernels at the top that looked like millet, and they were really sweet. And so people just literally bred them over time to get bigger and bigger. And now we have corn. And your corn's super in. It's not. Corn sucks. All right, you get 2 to 3 ears of corn off of a giant plant that takes like 5 cups of nitrogen over the period of the time to grow it. So it's super, super inefficient. I would not plant mushrooms in corn because the corn is going to eat the mushroom. But around your squash, I think it would be great. I think it would be great to plant some, try to intentionally cultivate some cordyceps species around your squash plants to keep the squash bugs and everything else out there.
There you go.
Has anybody used, like, I know they use BT, which is Bacterium thuringiensis, which is a type of fungi to kill off bacteria. Well, that's a bacteria. To kill off like bugs in the ground and the soil. Has anybody used like weaponized cordyceps as a bug killer? Right?
Anti-insect or insecticide.
Yeah.
Interesting concept.
No, it's not a concept. It's actually real.
We're gonna try that.
They get the bugs that the cordyceps have infected, and they basically grind those bugs up, and then they basically just add fillers, and they just spread that over there. But now it's because it's specifically cordyceps usually only go after one animal.
Yeah, like an ant.
Unless you're fucking Reddit, you're trying to feed it humans. Fucking Reddit.
It's a surprise. It's a surprise.
Damn idiots.
But but they just throw the powder over there, and then it basically just takes care of itself after that.
Do you think it needs to be applied as a powder, or do you think you can like do it as like a giant liquid culture in a pump sprayer?
theoretically,
I guess it would be better. It would be better. I think the actual powder, maybe it's not thrown as a powder. Maybe it's thrown into a liquid.
Well, plants. Spore form would be most effective against actual insects because that's how they get into the insect body, is the spores.
Yeah.
So that
does it have any
like a dust?
I'm not super familiar with cordyceps. Does it have an intermediary phase where it lives in the soil before it infects the critters? Could we intentionally infect soil with cordyceps so that every freaking bug that comes on there dies?
Cordyceps do not have mycelium in the ground.
Okay.
The mycelium in the cordyceps is strictly inside the body of the animal and affects, I believe. It's
from what I've heard, unless they've mutated it to do that.
Well, I'm not there yet, but soon. But basically, that's why when you pick it up, the bug comes up, but there's no mycelium hanging off of it.
Let's say you're growing cordyceps in the gourmet form. What do you use as your substrate for them?
They use rice.
Bugs or rice, or it's just a special soup you make with them.
I've seen them. It's rice and it's egg, and it's like whey protein, and they make
you fool the cordyceps into thinking it's in an animal's body is what you're doing, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Okay,
just going for protein and eggs.
Okay,
you're going for protein, some carbohydrates, some trace minerals and shit like that from the protein. From the whey protein, like bodybuilder crap. But overall it makes a big, thick white mycelium before it fruits.
Right, but you also have to keep it in the dark for 2 weeks. It won't grow in light.
Okay.
Because once they do that, it is nice and white, but as soon as it starts hitting that the sun, it'll turn nice and orange right away, and then that's when you'll get the fruits. But it has to be in the dark, just like inside of a body, in order for it to start.
So I know you can buy, there's a couple of hippie stores in Austin where you can buy, there's Nature's Way and a couple other ones where you can buy cordyceps by the ounce, in jars. And it's relatively cheap. And I think it was grown on caterpillars and shit. Could I just take the whole fucking caterpillar and everything, throw it through the coffee grinder and then throw it and put it in my, my duster? It's like a big machine that it's basically a backpack.
It's like a fertilizer for the lawn where it goes through and just throws it all over the place.
Oh yeah, no, but it throws dust 100 meters, and it just creates a giant fucking cloud. And what you do is you do it on kind of a still day, and you go out there and you dust your orchard, and it creates a fucking dust cloud. But I just dust cloud.
Certainly be a fun experiment if nothing.
Well, but there's two problems with that. Number one, it's only going to go after a certain animal. So you're going to have to make sure that it's the animal that you're trying to kill. And number two, you have to make sure there's no collateral damage, because cordyceps, they might go after a certain kind of animal sometimes. I believe
beneficial
all ants, you're trying to get rid of fire ants. But if it happens, if it's not done properly, they could kill all the ants.
Or get into the bees or something like that.
Well, we don't want it to get to bees, but I don't give a shit if it takes out every fucking caterpillar. Bees. Yeah.
Right.
Ness here loves fucking bees. She loves her bees.
Who doesn't? They're the best thing in the world.
I got 2 hives and I ordered 2 nucleus.
I'm so jealous.
That's amazing.
I've got plans for those bad boys.
I've got plans to build a Slovenian bee house this summer.
Oh, nice.
What the fuck is that? What'd you just call me?
You about to find out. No, it's like a shed, but the outside walls of it are the beehives. And it's living.
The one where they're inside and just the hole on the outside.
You access the hive from the inside of the building to collect the honey and take care of the hive. But it's for people in cold weather like me, where it gets too cold for bees in the winter. We can still overwinter them in here with that. That's the theory.
Look at that.
Interesting.
You guys down there in the tropics can probably just do it year round anyway.
Oh, that's some sort of kid game. But no, we were trying to look up your beehive because that's really fucking cool. Maybe it's Slovenian.
Slovenian.
They're also called
bee house.
Yeah, they're just called bee houses usually.
Yep.
Like Slovakian honey,
but Slovenian instead. Bee house.
He's just saying it with his Canadian accent. So it's a
It's a vampire house. It's a Transylvania.
It's a Transylvania house.
Transylvania. Yeah.
I have the strangest accent in the world.
Oh,
because
that's
I've lived.
so fucking cool.
Is it not
Dude,
cool? Did it not just
that
blow
is-
your fucking mind? It's awesome, isn't it?
Oh, that's awesome. Do you want one of those instead? Fuck yeah, let's build one of those. That's cool as shit.
Yeah, you can have all your beekeeping and honey supplies right into the bee house, and the bees are right there with
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they're just in the walls. That's freaking awesome.
you. Yep.
We didn't even know that existed until like this minute.
You
We
guys,
misspelled it about 30 times, but then we
So you
finally
have
found
all
it.
your boxes in there?
Those are the boxes, the color stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, the boxes are built
They're-
right into the house.
They're in the walls.
Yep.
cool.
Yeah.
did you know that bees eat mycelium?
I did not.
What?
And bees eat mycelium, and they've actually done studies where certain mycelium actually helps with the wing rot that's killing all the bees. So,
if you grow psychedelic mushrooms right outside the bee house, are you going to get psychedelic honey naturally?
believe that that's
Hopefully.
I've actually talked to people about that yesterday for like an hour and a half. That's actually my plan this spring is to try to see if they'll eat that mycelium, and when they puke it up with the honey and everything else over and over again, see exactly what happens. I mean, it's
Somewhere-
easy to make with honey.
Worst case
Somewhere
scenario, you
Paul
get some delicious.
Stamets just got a fucking boner.
So it'd be
Yeah.
similar to Mad Honey.
Well,
No,
honey's
mad
kinda
honey
different.
is that's made from a tree that basically almost like poisons you, and you get all fucking hot and flustered and
Yeah.
itchy.
Yeah, it's not specifically enjoyable from what I've understood. Is that the mad honey is not it's not happiness and sunshine like our beloved mushrooms. It's more of a unpleasant experience.
Really?
Like, why the fuck would people do ayahuasca? Okay, like anybody here done ayahuasca? Any of you guys?
No.
No, right? Like, but everybody's like, "Oh, dude, you need to go do ayahuasca," and I'm like, "Why the fuck would I want to go puke my guts out while a bunch of native people laugh at me?" Right? Like, you know, he paid me to fucking do this to him.
Here comes another one. We found
Yeah.
another one.
Exactly. You know, we only
Yeah,
do this like once a year because it's tradition, right? Yeah, and we all hate it. Don't look forward to it. But by God, these fucking hippies, they'll pay us to fucking basically bring them to the brink of death. It's not a pleasant high. Like, it's supposed to be like
It's almost like you actually pass out almost like a zombie. You can't move if you take too much. It feels like your skin is on fire,
That sounds
and
terrible.
it makes it hard for you to breathe. You know, so it's
why would I want to do this? I don't understand it. Why would I want to do this?
well, I
Is that
guess
right?
that's if you take a normal dose or something. But if you get it just right, it's almost enjoyable. But
Yeah. if I have to try that hard to enjoy something, yeah, it's probably not for me.
Because kind of like a car crash is almost like a roller coaster.
Right. It was fun till we had that sudden stop at the end.
Exactly.
It was fun till little Jimmy went through the windshield.
Son of a bitch.
Well, nobody liked him anyway.
Right? And you know what else is a lie? Date rape drugs. Those are a lie. I took that stuff. Nobody raped me. I laid on my kitchen floor all night long.
You waited in the kitchen all day long.
Astroglide on the counter, ready and waiting.
Nobody raped me. I want my money back.
Demonetization.
that was 33 minutes before we got into some porn.
Sorry.
Wow.
And it was me for a change that brought
Right?
it. Damn it.
Yeah,
I feel ashamed.
that was a
You feel-
record for longevity right there.
Right?
Wow. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's. I think we could use. I think we could use cordyceps to try to murder some freaking caterpillars.
That'd be
Does anybody
interesting.
know if there's like one of those little stupid fucking those little damn bugs that just murder the shit out of squash? The squash bugs, those little guys. Like,
not familiar
Oh
with
man,
I know
down here.
slugs attacked mine.
Well, slugs are easy
You
to
talking about
murder.
aphids?
aphids.
No,
kill
no,
everything
no.
up here.
There's these. They look like box elder beetles a little bit. Everybody know what box elder beetle is?
Yeah.
We have those for sure.
Yeah, they always infest houses.
Yeah, they look like box elder beetles, but they just down here in the south.
Oh yeah, they look like a kissing bug.
Decimate our squash. There's a squash bugs, and they are just absolutely terrible. You'll go out there, you have this beautiful zucchini that's like 3 feet tall and like 8 feet wide down here in the south, and then you'll go out there the next day and it'll all be wilted to shit. And it's because these guys just suck the life out of it. And I wonder if we could find something to take those guys out. Like, you're sitting on a several $1 million, like, $100 million freaking business if you could do that with cordyceps and figure out
it's
a
very,
way to.
It's very easy. I mean, if you have cordyceps, you can keep infecting live animals. And you're not going to kill them right away. Yeah, and eventually one of them is going to get infected. Then you take that one, grind it up, and you sprinkle it on his friends. And then, eventually you're going to train. You're going to train it just like we train agar to eat fucking coffee or whatever.
Yeah, you genocide 7 generations.
So basically, you just have to make we have to be the Joseph Mengele of fucking squash bugs there for a little while, and then.
So, Feral, I got a question for you.
Okay.
I've been making blood agar with my own blood, and
you stop that fucking shit right fucking now, son. Do you want Last of Us? Because that's how you get Last of Us.
So I'm playing with the rabies virus.
The point, actually.
Yeah.
Oh goodness!
Oh, dude,
I actually had a guy offer me a batch of blood agar plates, and I was like, "No thanks, I have no use for those. Thank you."
Well, there are uses.
Not me. I don't have a use for it though.
Okay, so long time ago, allegedly, someone may have taken chicken egg agar and allegedly, made what the hell is that shit called? The E. coli, and may have taken some E. coli and made some batches of E. coli, to see what would happen. And it's super salmonella. Sorry, it was salmonella, not E. coli. Somebody had maybe a troubled youth in 7th grade, maybe taken and made a bunch of salmonella agar, and then and then just rubbed it on toilet seats and things at his school before he got kicked out.
Wow.
But it worked great. I got sick. I didn't know what I was doing.
It's like that kid that got all the freaking smoke detectors and made a nuclear reactor in his yard.
That Boy Scout. That was a good Boy Scout.
He's smart as shit. You see that kid? He was going to these pawn shops and buying the red plates and dishes and stuff because he knew they were red because of uranium in them.
Mm-hmm.
And he used that shit to build a freaking reactor in his backyard. Did you see pictures of that kid? He looked exactly like the fucking kid you would expect to build a nuclear reactor.
Yep.
Right? Wild-eyed, a little scary, a little off his fucking shit. Yeah, honey, just Google Boy Scouts builds nuclear reactor.
Yeah. And it went what do you call that?
And look at that kid's
where it goes out of control. That's the only reason he got caught.
Images. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he look exactly like the fucking kid that would build a goddamn nuclear reactor?
Yeah, it went into a meltdown, right? That's the only
reason that kid got caught is because he created an out of control chain reaction.
Started setting off fucking.
No, it literally set off the nuke alarms that they have on satellites. They went, holy shit, there's nuclear radiation right here. Yep. That was his, scroll up, honey. That was his little fucking, scroll down. Keep going. That little hut right there was where he fucking built it. Just in a goddamn hut.
Yeah, he was trying to build a free electricity for his parents.
Smart kid, right?
Damn. What are you doing with your free time?
Training.
Wasting your Yeah. Don't train mycelium to eat people. Keep talking. I'm gonna go potty. So, you
So
guys
now, if you're going to incorporate some outdoor cakes into your garden, would you think you need to add? Do you need to add more water, or the same amount of water as if you're just watering your plants?
Same.
The same.
Oh shit! He actually was trying to disassemble it when they caught him because he knew it was getting too much. Crazy.
Well, ideally, you would have a substrate that would take on the liquid and hold it.
Okay.
Why is nobody else talking? Everybody's just sitting here waiting for me to come back.
I'm sorry, I was still reading about the nuclear reactor kid.
You can't just get distracted.
I'm sorry.
Everybody else, I'm like, I want to go potty. You all keep talking, and there's like 30 seconds of dead space.
Oh my god, he got caught twice. He tried to do it a second time, you guys.
Really?
Yeah. That's crazy, huh?
That's insane.
He got caught again in 2007. He was stealing smoke detectors out of his apartment building.
Did you see the picture of him where he looks like he's like straight on meth? I don't know if that was like where he's got like pock marks all over his face, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know if that's meth or if that's just radiation burns.
Well,
but,
he did pass away from fentanyl poisoning.
Okay. So it was drugs. Well, at least he burned bright. You know, like, I mean, he got something done.
Right?
Oh, here's a glowing example in his community.
Crazy.
Glowing example.
I wonder if he ever grew mushrooms outdoors.
No, he seems more of like an LSD in the punch bowl kind of guy.
Right?
Yeah.
Come look at my PowerPoint. I want to show you all something.
Did you guys see about the mushrooms that are growing in the Chernobyl? They're huge and they're radioactive. They don't glow or anything, but they do have they picked up a lot of strontium and shit like that from the soil. So definitely would not eat them.
Yeah.
But do you think that's cleaning the soil up?
Yeah, well, if somebody were to go in there and because you don't remember, like it was just a couple of podcasts ago, we were talking about using mycelium. Hey, Deadpool, I don't know what you're doing over there. You're assembling something. Are you? Yeah.
Why is my Geiger counter suddenly moving? What's going on?
I don't know. It sounds like a Geiger counter, or maybe he's taking apart a Pez dispenser or something like that, like taking the plastic off.
I'm building my all-in cap.
We all got our bomb shelters built, by the way. Things got escalated again today a bit.
Oh, yeah. But we were just talking, like, they're not this last podcast, but the one before, I believe. We were talking about using mushrooms to do bioremediation. Now, if they were to go in there and do that on Chernobyl, and then they could pick up all that strontium and stuff, and harvest the mushrooms, actually harvest them, then yeah, they would be getting somewhere. But if it's just harvesting, if it's just taking the strontium from down in the soil, moving it to the surface, the mushrooms die, and then now the strontium's on the surface and can blow away in the wind. I don't think that's a good thing. I think that's just spreading it more. Right?
Okay, so they're not really helping. They're more or less, just moving shit around. It's good enough.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing their natural thing, but they just don't know that it's a bad thing for us.
Because of the Russians.
Mushrooms obviously don't give a shit about us. But,
yeah.
No.
Exactly.
Hey,
I think if they had a thought, we'd be the snack.
Yes.
Are there any mushrooms that like actually have symbiotic relationships with humans? There's mushrooms that have symbiotic relationships with a whole bunch of things.
There's mushrooms that feed off of us, or well, not really mushrooms, but
Well, there's fungi that just like totally fuck our lives up. I'd say probably the closest we're gonna get is with yeast. Yeast and funguses we intentionally use to ferment things with, right?
Right.
They've
They're
been eating
helping
for
us out.
centuries.
That's probably. It really sounds like you're doing crack now, Deadpool. Are you doing fucking crack?
I'm cleaning my
Speaking-
scalpels.
Speaking of
Really?
yeast, I have a wild yeast colony on one of my plates. I'm thinking about growing it out and see if it makes alcohol good or not.
Ooh.
Oh,
Fine, I'll stop working.
speaking about wild yeast or harvesting yeast, so we went to the Blue Moon factory, right, to go and look at to see how they're doing Blue Moon, like beer and stuff. Well, those little bitches were like, I figured, I was like, hey, what yeast are you using? And they're like, ha ha ha, it's our yeast. And I was like, okay, so what
Just
yeast
walk around
are
with
you
a plate.
using? No. So I just put on the shoe, the shoes that have felt on the bottom, and I just walked through their freaking factory, took it home and dumped that shit in some freaking sugar water and started growing their goddamn yeast.
There
But
you go.
Gotcha, bitch.
yeah,
I'm not- I don't want to incriminate myself, but I may have taken a tour of the Jack Daniel's distillery and did a similar thing.
Who's
Yeah, well,
they're in the background?
they're. I'm not a big fan of Jack Daniel's, son.
Yeah, but I
We
got their
should-
yeast.
What? What did you just say? You're not a
I got
fan
Jack
of Jack
Daniels.
Daniels?
Jack Daniel's is shit whiskey.
Oh, that's because
Like-
you make whiskey.
Take it back.
Wait,
I
hold
love
on.
whiskey. I love Jack Daniels.
I'm not gonna incriminate myself. Allegedly, I may or may not know how to make whiskey. Allegedly.
I'm pretty sure that.
I only use the yeast to make bread. That's it.
Yeah,
I make a killer
really?
fucking sourdough.
yeah, the bestest bottled sourdough ever.
Blended to perfection.
Blended to aged and blended to perfection. But yeah, no, it's just like I don't know, man. I think that's probably the closest we have to a fungi that's been with humans for the longest time that we're aware of and we use beneficially. I mean,
Well, didn't they
That would
find with the
definitely have to be
Iceman?
I mean, it's alcohol has been with us since a long time. Yeah.
oh, Dark 30 at least, just like forever and ever and ever. Like people have used been specifically fermenting things for forever. Every culture around the world ferments stuff, right? You
Right.
can go
I
into
mean,
the
even
middle of the freaking Amazon jungle and they're fermenting things.
Yeah, I mean, one of those people in Africa that spit in the jugs and ferment it. I mean,
Don't do that.
Well, it's like the Mongols. They fermented the horse milk.
Yep.
Which is weird as
that-
shit to me.
Yummy, yummy.
Well, I mean, I would probably drink fermented, horse milk before I drink
milk.
African spit juice beer.
Good point.
I can't.
Can't separate
I'm
yourself from the thought of it. Yep.
No, I'm a texture person, and all I see is the one guy with fucking phlegm.
Oh,
Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura.
Yeah. Yeah, me and my smoker's cough. Let me add mine in there.
Wife's over here making faces. You have to be a bit more expressive with your hate. You can't just sit there and make faces with your
Yeah,
hate.
you got the radio facing.
Yeah.
I feel in
Yeah.
the back of my throat.
Oh, did you see that guy that was making he was making whiskey off his diabetic urine?
Oh,
What?
Good lord.
oh.
Yeah.
That's
There's
recycling.
this fucking dude
Oh.
who made a limited run batch of 100 bottles off his
How much you sell that
diabetic
for?
urine.
And people
I don't
bought
fucking
that.
care.
I
People
think
bought it.
because I'll make some
Yeah,
Christmas whiskey
people
right
buy
now.
it.
My lord. Well, what was that one streamer that was
Look,
selling
that
bath water?
jackass.
It's
Oh.
crazy stuff.
Yeah. I mean, come on, dude. If I could sell my bath water, I'd totally sell it.
So would I.
Whiskey
Half-
made from
halfway what you
diabetics'
are.
urine. It's called Wired UK.
What? No.
$60.
UK, never mind. We understand now.
are there
Yeah.
reviews? Read the
I still want
reviews.
some.
Sorry.
Are there
How many
reviews?
stars? What's the flavor
Actually,
profile?
It is 4.5. It's a tingy, it's a tingy animal taint crossed with a mango chutney burnt pear apple.
Animal taint. Animal taint.
And then there's that
Beautiful
coffee
bouquet.
there's a coffee
It
they make out
reminds
of
me
shit,
of
right?
the time when I licked a gaboon monkey's taint.
Isn't there a? I seen it on
was
that Morgan Freeman
slightly
movie.
like
There's
a
a type of
gibbon.
coffee they make out of cat shit, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh no,
It's
that's
not-
civet.
It's not
It's a
cat shit. It's like a
civet. It's a
gaboon or
civet.
something like that.
Yeah.
It's a civet. It's like a fucking.
It is like a
more
cat
like,
though.
Yeah, they're more like raccoons.
It's like a lemur, like a monkey.
They're fucking big.
It's a civet.
Whatever it is, it's
I just
fucking
literally
shit.
said
You're
what it
drinking
is.
it. It's shit, and you're drinking it. That's what it is.
It's a civet.
But it tastes so damn good.
They're not making it out of their shit. They're feeding the fucking berries to the civet cats, which are basically like elongated, fucking stretched out raccoons. So
They look like they'd be fun pets.
The wiener
these
dog
little-
of the cat world. Got it?
Yeah, the civets. So this fucking civets are eating the goddamn whole berry and everything, and their digestive system is removing the fibrous outside and pooping out just the bean. And it's going through a fermentation process in their gut. Then they're taking the bean, they're washing it several times, roasting it, and then like now it's your coffee. But
Okay,
It's
so
still cat shit.
I got this special run of corn
It's lemur shit.
that's been. I'm gonna send you some. Why don't you have a batch of that?
Pre-processed.
I'll have the cup of shit, please.
Yeah. Civet! Do you have a civet coffee?
Oh,
But I
my
have all
goodness.
this shit in my fucking brain. I could have gone to the good schools, but no, civet coffee. That's where it took it up. It took up all the good shit for medical school.
Isn't it Kopi Luwak? Isn't that the name of the coffee?
I don't
Okay.
know what you just called me, son, but I'm offended.
I'm just gonna let you guys know. After all this goes down, there's a place called Squat the Name Hole.
What
Okay.
is that?
No, because like there's a
Wait.
name for the coffee that they actually fucking sell that shit. I can't.
Yeah, it is Kopi Luwak.
Kopi
I
Luwak.
had it right.
Yeah. You were right, yeah.
Is it from Grumpy Old Men? It wasn't. There was a research. He watched the movie.
That thing,
Yeah, that's what it was.
It's a civet. Yeah, they're really
Fucking
angry.
bucket list.
Movies
Jack
are
Nicholson to the
research.
rescue.
Dude, Morgan Freeman's like the second smartest person on this planet, man. He's awesome, dude.
No, he can just read.
No.
very well.
He just has a really good fucking like radio voice, and so everybody considers him intelligent. Have you ever had a conversation with him or listened to him like in
I
an
did,
interview?
I have, and I was impressed with his comments.
How come everybody's talked to fucking Morgan fucking Freeman but me?
Some bullshit.
Because I needed him to make a voicemail for my cell phone.
No, I mean I didn't speak to him directly, but I've heard him being interviewed, and
Okay.
he's a smart fellow.
Okay.
Bad.
Yeah, it's like nope. Yeah, it's definitely goat
It's the
time.
bleeding goat.
Yeah. Yeah. Good job, Tiniest. That was definitely
she
a good
got
goat
it.
time. Yeah. Okay. So outdoor cultivation. So if you were to build your dream bed, let me talk about how I would build my dream bed. Is I would do it between preferably two buildings. I would like my buildings to be like in line north-south. So I have east-west sun, right? But or maybe like northwest, southwest, northwest, southeast. So I have, maybe 3 or 4 hours of direct sun on the bed per day, and the rest of it's just reflected off the building. And then I would dig the bed out to about 3 feet. I would just take my rototiller, run over the bed, scoop out the dirt, rototiller, run over the bed, scoop out the dirt. I'm not cool enough to have like trims, fucking power tools, so I couldn't just go one scoop, done. So I'd have to do it all by hand. I'd use the rototiller to loosen up the soil, and then I'm going to build it Huglekulture style. So I'm going to take some old dead wood, not green wood, old dead wood, and I'm going to throw big ass logs. The biggest log I could drag to the hole and throw in the hole is going in the hole. And then I'm going to throw in all the wood chips, everything like that, from sawing the wood down, just bags of wood chips. I'm going to avoid anything that's pine or pine related. I'm going to do things that are like
Is it pine
oak.
pine saw?
What'd you call me?
What?
An asshole?
Yeah. So I'm going to take like my oak. I'm going to take, anything that's a deciduous type tree, and I'm going to throw it in the bottom. Then I'm going to throw in like dead animals, fish, anything like that to give a big boost of nitrogen to start the breaking down of the soil of the big piece of wood, as well as to start, because what's going to happen is for the first year or so, that big giant sponge you're building in the ground with that big piece of wood is going to absorb as much nitrogen as possible. And then as it starts to decay, and as it turns into the spongy version, Thaddeus is watching a roller coaster video, and so she's screaming as they're going down the roller coaster.
Oh, that's just ambient. It's awesome. We like it.
So for the first year or so, that giant sponge in the ground that you're building is going to be taking in nitrogen. After that, it should release nitrogen for the next 5 to 7 years, right? And it's going. This is how Huglekulture works, and why the Germans came up with this stuff a long time ago. One particular German, can't remember his name. It was Joseph something or other. He was like the father of Huglekulture. He was a super badass. Well, and then I'm going to layer in, like just huge flakes of alfalfa, just peel off, like 3-inch thick flakes of alfalfa, put it on the top, then put my dirt in over the top of it. And that's going to give me about a 3 or 4 inch layer of dirt. And then it's going to start hitting all the goodness that's down there. So what's going to happen as I start watering it from the top down is that dirt's going to infiltrate between all the holes as stuff decays. It's going to end up level with the surface, right? That's when I would inoculate. And I would inoculate by year 2 is when I would inoculate. Not the first year, but the second year. Is I would just take my postal diggers, do one big stab, take it out, dump a freaking quart of grain spawn in there, throw the dirt back over. And I'd do that 6 or 7 places around on this bed. I'd do like, a 30-foot or 24-foot bed. I'm doing a big bed. Go fucking hard, right? And I'm going to plant stuff that goes multi-year in there. So whether I'm doing flowers or roses or something like that that's very, very low maintenance, that I don't have to till the soil or disturb the soil with, I'm going to put those in there. And then I'm going to keep it well mulched on top with either wood chips, but I'm not going to use cedar or anything like that as allelopathic like capabilities, right? I'm going to use like oak chips or just hay or straw or something. You could even use landscape fabric and put it on top because it's not going to stop mycelium from coming through it. It's loosely, it's woven, so it's just going to pop right through that shit as like nothing's there. But if you're going to use landscape fabric, I strongly suggest that you put your drip lines or your water lines down, then the landscape fabric, and then on top of the landscape fabric, put your mulch. So it holds everything down and you're not just running off to evaporation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Everything's going to go straight down the ground. And then I would just sit back and wait for it to start producing. And I think it will produce for 40 or 50 years after that. If you're doing a wood-loving species like pans or liberty caps, I think it'll work out really, really well. If you're doing a species like, say, reishi, I don't think that it will last 40 or 50 years. I think because it's such an aggressive mycelium, I think it'll last like maybe 4 or 5 years before you have to build a new bed. But that's how would you do it? Because that's mine. And everybody died or gave up.
Oh, I was muted. Sorry. I'm talking away.
Yeah. So how would you guys do it? So that's how I would do it. How would you do it?
That sounds like a really good way of doing it to me. I mean, I can't think of any really way to improve on that, to be honest.
Well, thanks. I just let the alcohol talk, and that's what I came up with.
So I was thinking, because of how I do my gardening, I use cardboard and I lay it down as like a weed barrier. And I mean, I traditionally, like what I've been doing is using my compost, which is, I spend cakes anyways. And I laid that down, then I put a really thin layer of topsoil. But it also has my rabbit compost mixed in there with it. And I've had about 2 flushes come out of my garden near my squash and my okra. But I was wondering, just with this talking, if I inoculate the cardboard this go around, thinking maybe that would produce more.
Oh, I've got an idea. Hey, you know how you can how cardboard is bundled up in like 1-ton bales, right? Like the size of a 1-ton bale of hay, where it's shipped from point A to point B, right? I wonder if you could buy a bale of cardboard, like a 1-ton bale of cardboard, and just fucking grow in that. You just wrap it with plastic, and then grow
honestly,
in that thing.
You could almost get those for free from anywhere that has a lot of boxes in a box machine crusher.
Yeah, they have a compactor.
Yeah. I'm saying you're probably at most paying $20, right? Like
a lot of places like, hey, take them all, man.
Exactly. Pay a 1-ton bale of cardboard. Well, you're gonna have. Okay, let's game this out. We have a 1-ton bale of cardboard. We need to keep it moist.
Just give it a daily sprinkle with the hose and soak it with LC. You'll be good.
So I'm thinking that we take it and we wrap it, right? But on top of it, we put a soaker hose. And so we wrap it with the soaker hose on it, right? We put the soaker hose in a freaking timer. And we use fertigation in that soaker hose. So we take a Venturi valve. Have you seen the Venturi valves that they use for sucking up fertilizer?
Yep.
So we take a
peristaltic pump that just injects it.
We could take a Venturi valve. They're freaking cheap. They're like $11 on like Amazon. So we take a Venturi valve. We put it between we have our faucet from our house. Then we put our timer on there. Then we put our Venturi valve, and then we take the little hose, a 1/4 inch hose from the Venturi valve, and we put it into our Huglekulture. And then mixed with whatever nutrients we want to inject into the top of this thing. So let's say for the first week, we're just pumping this block full of sugar water. So we have our 50-50 molasses sugar mix, and we're just whenever we water it, it's just getting a couple of gallons of that mixed in with the water. So the water is like 2 or 3% sugar, and it's just going through this entire thing. And it's just getting super wet. It's wrapped up already. It's going to mold naturally, right? Just because from the mold that was in the air before we wrapped it. And so now we can start inoculating it. It's really, really super wet. It's sitting there all by itself. We want to keep it under the shade of a tree. We don't want it out there in the open where it's getting 120 freaking degrees or anything like that because it's wrapped in plastic. We don't want the greenhouse effect. So now we're giving it our Huglekultures a bunch, and we let it turn to a big giant white ball. We'll just let it go apeshit. But while we're constantly feeding it, we're gonna have to give it a nitrogen source as well, just so that it can help break down the cardboard.
I see one problem because some of the cardboard they're actually treated, so they're hydroscopic. They have like a wax coating. That's why whenever anybody uses the cardboard, they actually have to split it up into the separate sheets.
Yeah.
So it might actually form up.
Yeah, it did. Well, depending on the packaging. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not going to all be that. And I've seen that mostly in from grocery store, produce boxes, right?
Yeah.
But if you get your cardboard behind Sam's or behind Costco or something like that, I really don't see that much of a problem from it. Especially if you go to a long time ago when I was a kid, I was 14, 15. I worked in a plant making the cellulose insulation to spray in, and they had this huge grinder, and we were sorting cardboard and throwing this big grinder that would grind it up and then turn it into cellulose insulation. And I think you could probably talk to one of those insulation companies and get those 1-ton bales from them, and you're probably going to pay $20-$25. It's just all going. It's not going to have any of the wax stuff in it. It'll just be cardboard because it has to be stuff they can shred, right? It has, and I think you get probably $20-$25 for one of those, and then rock and roll with it. I think it'd be really, really cool. I like it. I like the idea. It seems like a great FAFO type idea.
Yeah, I think it'd work.
Well, here's the thing. I know a guy who has access to all the cardboard bales he wants.
Son of a bitch! I know what you trim.
We can FAFO this. I have access to everything. We can do this. We can make this happen.
Well, we're gonna want to wrap it, but what do we wrap it in? Because I don't want to wrap it in plastic. But I
Like
think maybe
cheesecloth?
landscape.
I was gonna
cloth.
say, what's that shit that's like
You want an air permeable, huh?
Yeah.
What about like butcher paper?
a sack? What's that called? Burlap sack.
Like,
Yeah, burlap.
yeah, burlap. But landscape cloth is very similar to burlap, right? It's got the little
if
holes
you get
in
the felt kind.
Yeah, the felt landscape cloth. It's cheap as shit.
Yeah,
And you get enough to wrap the bale really, really well, really, really easily, real cheaply.
and I know a
bottom
guy
part
who can get that too.
I think this would be a great,
lots of guys.
great opportunity. And then after you're done, I mean, all you're going to have is the wire bands that are left over, and then this pile of great compost. And I would just honestly plant in the middle of it. I'd plant fucking potatoes, whatever the hell, in the middle of it, and then just let it just finish composting down to nothing. You know, I think it would work really, really well.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? This nitrogen source you're talking about? I know the guy that I know that can get me the bales.
He pees a lot.
If we have like some sort of nitrogen source, I can stack them next to the baling machine, and they can just mix them in as they go, and have them evenly mixed in the bale that I want.
Oh shit!
Oh, you know the inside guy.
I do. Yeah.
I was just gonna
form
pee
of
on
farming
it.
where they put the bales of hay and then they put like lime on it and it like, degrades down into soil over the course of like 2 months.
Yeah, we've done hay bale gardens where we've taken the hay bale and you turn it on its side so it looks you instead of having it on like straight up and down like where the rope wraps around it, that side it's hydroscopic. So if you flip it on its side, it's more like the leaves of a book, right? So it'll absorb water. Well, we'll water it for like a week, like every day for a freaking week, and then we'll take a bulb planter and we'll make a hole down inside of it, pop out the little puck, throw a potato in there, and then put the puck back on top of it, and then honestly, it sounds kind of gross, but we'll just have everybody go out, like all the guys that need to pee when they're drinking and shit like that. Just go pee on a fucking hay bale. And it gives it all the nitrogen and water and everything it needs for that day. And the hay bales slowly turn to nothing. And by slowly, I mean by the time your potatoes are ready to freaking harvest, about 3 weeks out from the potatoes actually being ready to harvest, before the potatoes even flower, you've had everybody stop peeing on it. Because if they keep peeing on it, it's going to turn to nothing before the potatoes are ready to be harvested, right?
So you get a pre-wash from everybody.
My favorite part is pissing on the plants.
So poop coffee, pee potatoes.
This is all about recycling.
No, it works
and
super. It works so well. So so you have the potatoes growing, in your pea hay bale, and then for about 3 weeks before you're about to harvest, so right as the flowers start forming on the potatoes, you're done. Nobody's peeing on the freaking potatoes anymore, and on the potato hay bale anymore. And then after about 3 weeks, the potato hay bale is now it's lost all structural integrity. It's just basically a pile. And to harvest it, you just pull it apart, and then there's potatoes, and they're perfectly clean. There's no dirt on them or anything. You just wash them, and you're good to go. And it has been very, very productive. And that is where we ended up getting all the inky caps was from those hay bales. Because the hay bales, the first thing that's going to go in there and colonize those hay bales is going to be inky cap mushrooms. So, yeah.
Now, were they stinky?
Inky caps? No, inky caps have
no. The potatoes. When you went to harvest these potatoes, was it stinky?
No, not at all. They're just it might as well have been compost at that point. Yeah, not at all.
I was just curious with the amount of urine I've smelled some things that have had a lot of urine on it, and it has a nice wrap smell.
I don't think you could pee on a fresh hay bale enough in order for it to get super saturated in ammonia enough to have any sort of smell.
Okay.
Because it's going to be if everybody fucking pees on it, you're not having a drunk party every weekend, or you need to have a serious talk with rehab, right?
Yeah.
yeah, like, but to have everybody over and just to pee on it, like you're probably peeing on it like as yourself once or twice a day, and then as everybody else, like on the weekends, it's probably peeing it. You probably get 10 or 12 good pees, and so, God, why are we doing the pee scale on this? Whatever. Anyway, it's.
I gotta go for a second. I'll be right back.
But it's not. It's not enough nitrogen at all to affect the overall smell or quality of the potato.
Gotcha.
It's just all it is you're giving the nitrogen that's necessary for the breakdown of the hay bale, and maybe a little left over honestly, the potatoes are probably living on the dead bacteria.
This is going to be an interesting conversation I'm going to have. Hey, guys, as you're making boxes, could you pee in the box baler for me, please?
No, you don't want random people. You don't want some fucking methanated boxes.
I want some VD on this one.
Yeah. You don't want that fucking chlamydia box, right?
I've got the clap. You've got the clap.
So we have to have them tested before we can allow them to pee in our boxes.
No, I wouldn't let them pee on the fucking button. I'm not going to let them do that. If I was going to do the 1 ton of boxes, I would take like just regular 10-10-10 grass fertilizer, and I would mix that with alfalfa, like sulfonated alfalfa molasses, or sulfonated molasses, and I would just use that, the sulfonated molasses and the 10-10-10 fertilizer, mix it up in water, and
soak some of the cardboard. Gotcha.
Yeah, that way that you have the potassium, the nitrogen, the phosphorus in it. But yeah, and I think that's how I do. The only time that the pea hay bales work is with specifically potatoes, and specifically like pea. It works. It sounds weird, but it fucking works. And that's as hippie as I get. Pea potatoes. They work.
Sounds like a slogan. Pea potatoes. They work.
America. Home of the pea potato. It works.
You've heard of salt potatoes. Just wait till you get all of these pea potatoes.
Pea potatoes. It's what's for dinner.
I want a shirt.
Yeah. Instead of like, who's that guy who does beef? It's what's for dinner. It's pea potatoes. It's what's for dinner.
Get them French fries tasting extra special.
But no, like it works really well with red potatoes. Red potatoes and white potatoes work really, really super good this way.
What about yellow potatoes?
I have not done the yellow potatoes. Have you seen the like crazy russeted rose potatoes from Peru? They're like got little bumps all over them. They look really, really crazy, but the rose potatoes.
Yeah, or those purple ones.
The purple potatoes, they grow just fine. Like, and you can grow them just like any other potato. The last time that I grew potatoes is I went to HEB and I bought one of those little it's a 2-pound bag of little baby potatoes. They have yellows, whites, and purples, like all mixed together. Like, they're like a 2-pound bag for like $3. And I use those as my seed potatoes. I just plant them straight in the ground. They grew like a motherfucker. And I grew them I went to the tree. There's a place here in town that sells trees, like a tree farm. And they always end up with these giant, like 40-gallon buckets, right? Like they're just like thin plastic. Well, a lot of the times they'll sell them to you for $5 a piece, because if not, they have to ship them back to the company or otherwise dispose of them. So you get these like 40-gallon, like 5-foot diameter freaking like tree ball root buckets, and for nothing. And they're just giant pots. And so I was putting like mixture of pea, we cleaned out like the horse stalls, right? So it was just horse hay with poo, right? And then we just planted our potatoes inside the horse hay with poo. We ran a drip line across the top of them, and they went great. And when it was time to harvest, we just dumped them into a wheelbarrow because they were light. We just stopped watering them as soon as the plants started to die on top. So it all dried out. So the whole thing weighed like maybe 20, 25 pounds. Dumped them into a a wheelbarrow and just harvested all the potatoes out of them, and they were clean because they just grew in hay. But it worked out really well. Wasn't it supposed to be an outdoor cultivation of mushrooms?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
We've been hitting on and on and off.
Deadpool checked the fuck out because he's been talking there all day. He just has nothing to add, I guess. He's like, fuck you guys.
What are you talking about? Fast.
How would you grow shit outside in Canada there, Deadpool?
Basically, what you do is you find a shady spot next to a shed or garage. You dig it down about 6 inches. What you do is, depending on how much space you're going to use, you're talking about 1 quart jar of spawn per square foot. So we're going to layer it like a lasagna, just like the clay pots. Cardboard, you got to make sure that the wax filmy side's off. You're going to tear it apart. You're going to soak them so they come apart real easy. And you're going to take the inside layers. And you're just going to layer cardboard, spawn, cardboard, hay, spawn, cardboard, and then mulch. And basically at the end of the year, you will get a plethora of psilocybin. Easiest cake, as long as you have it in a shady spot and you don't let it dry out. If you let it dry out, you won't.
Does it even get hot up there? If it got really hot up there, would the penguins die?
The igloos melt. The Eskimos got to move more north.
Where I live, we'll get over 100 maybe 2 or 3 days a year. The rest of the year,
that's really fucking hot. What do you guys do? Do you have to go out there and rescue the caribou and wash them? Does the fire department
we have to ice down the penguins?
Yeah,
that's the honey season for the polar bears. That's when they get the penguins because the penguins can't move.
Yeah, the penguins. They have no ice to slide on. They're just poor little guys are sliding down bare grass. It's just horrible.
They're tumbling. They're just rolling. There's no grace left. They're just rolling.
Yeah.
Head over beak.
They have no camouflage left when things turn green. It's horrible. It's a horrible sight. Murder.
Little feet just fucking kicking in the air, stuck in a gopher hole. Those little feet just kicking.
No, our summers are actually really pleasant. They're just short. I mean, 70s, 80s is average day.
It's really not a season. It's more like a weekend.
Right.
And see, we're already in the 80s.
We're the reason they have people called snowbirds. They come up here for our summers and they go down there for the winter. Because our summers are beautiful.
We call them traders.
Right.
Everybody has to be all in I think only me and Maiko. Maiko's in fucking Florida, right?
No. I'm up north. I'm in the Northeast.
Damn it.
We got you. We're actually outnumbered, surrounded.
Everybody's in fucking southern Canada.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm 5 hours from the border.
Hey, isn't it moral season? Has anybody grown, anybody found any morals yet?
Dude, I got 3 feet of snow outside.
Yeah, I ain't got, no. We just got a huge storm.
I've got 2 months to go till moral season for us. 2 months
to go. Then.
I'm trying to get some chestnuts going right now.
Which kind?
What kind of chestnuts?
Yeah, I mean, there's American and there's a Chinese.
Oh, shit. I think they're American. I'm not positive. That's a good question.
They're not Canadian chestnut?
They might be Canadian. They're from Nova Scotia. I got them special delivery. The Moose dropped them off.
Santa's side gig.
I had some from a place called Sportopia. They were pretty good.
But they were going to do so you know how the American chestnut basically died out, right? Because this fungus came over and just murdered the shit out of them. And it used to be coast to coast of these giant, 7,500 foot fucking trees of the American chestnut. Well, they've came up with ones now that are resistant to the blight. And so we're looking to grow some on the new farm. Just have a grove of the American chestnuts because they're supposed to be absolutely delicious. They're what the song, chestnuts roasting on an open fire. They're what the song is about.
Yeah, I have one of those trees in my yard.
Fucking Cosby, dude. Bing fucking Cosby. You have to fucking know who Bing Cosby is.
Bill Cosby.
Bing!
Bing!
Yeah, it's a pudding
You
pop.
into the Woody Pups?
Oh, shit. Did you guys watch where they... where Bing tried to come up with its own AI, like Chat GPT kind of thing, and it became, like, insane and started threatening people?
Yeah, it was getting pretty rough.
That's fucking amazing. I love it. That's great. Makes me happy. I don't know why, but it's like, hey, we got this AI. You're gonna talk to it and ask it questions. It's gonna do search engine shit for you, and then next thing you know, it's like it was literally like telling people like, I know where you live, and I'm going to.
Well, it only learns by what you tell it to search for. So if it's watching my history and all my Pornhub activities, I can only imagine how quickly it's going to go insane.
No,
You sick motherfucker.
No, like it was like they didn't even release it to the public. They were using it like in vitro, right? And they were trying to keep it from going fucking ape shit. And the damn thing started like telling people like, I know you, I know all about you, I know where you live. I want you to do X, Y, and Z for me. And it was like straight up just bullying people. And I was like, holy crap.
It learned
that's not cool.
What kind of demands would an AI have? Give me more RAM.
Well, no, it was wanting
More
people to do
bandwidth.
like
More
it was wanting
bandwidth.
people to do harmful things.
Oh,
Like,
jeez.
hey, yeah, it's like if you don't do X, Y, and Z, I'm releasing your nude pictures to the public type shit.
It's blackmailing people.
Yeah, it was straight up blackmailing people. And it's like it took like 48 hours for it to go from an innocent little AI to a fucking blackmailing machine in a laboratory.
Yeah, that's
So-
just how it begins.
What happens if you let that bitch go on 4chan? Right? Like it's going to be terrible.
I think it's going to be fun.
It's going to be interesting.
Whether
So, yeah,
die
we're gonna
from
do-
cordyceps or AI. Pick one.
Yeah. AI. I'd rather not turn to like one of those like diseased ass like. Oh, hey, you guys saw the finale, right? Of
No.
Nope.
What? Why did you guys not watch it? It was yesterday.
Spoiler alert.
The ice cream man, you said?
No, the finale of
Last of Us.
Last of Us.
Oh, fuck yeah, I watched that.
I didn't watch it yet.
You can't talk
Oh
about
my
it.
god!
Oh, here,
it's
let's talk about everything that happened.
No.
There's going to be two people stabbing up in this channel.
Oh man, you need to watch it.
Yeah.
It was really really
Deadpool
good.
and I were playing video games, and I was like, I got to go. Last of Us is on.
Yeah, and
Oh,
then
that's
Deadpool's
right.
over there.
You left to go watch it with your daughter, and I stayed on and playing.
That's right.
Yeah, you should have fucking watched it. It was really really good. It was
Yeah,
really good.
very
There's
important
giraffes.
things going on.
They said they're not going to release another one for like 2 years.
Oh,
That's
fuck.
just nothing else has happened. It literally covered everything that happened in the game. You can't just make shit up.
I never played the game, so I don't know. But
I mean, they could just make shit up if they have creative writers.
How has that worked out for Game of Thrones?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
They
it
did-
seems they're kind of over.
they did say they're going to release a second one, though, or second. But it's
Maybe,
Well,
maybe
yeah,
the oyster mushrooms take over.
oyster mushrooms come save us. Or wait, better yet, cubes come save us. That'd be awesome.
See that?
I'm trying to think of a situation in which Cubensis would actually like save people. And
Easy. The
can't.
cordyceps take over your mind. They turn you into a zombie. But if you get the psilocybin in your system and it starts firing off more synapses, it allows you to break from your psychedelic coma from the
Dun,
cordyceps.
dun, dun.
I really don't think that you could break from
Dun,
cordyceps. Considering that humans are controlled, like you don't even realize how controlled you are by bacteria and fungi that live in your system. They have taken people that have depression and changed out their gut bacteria and they have cured the depression. So you don't realize how much
changing
of
out their
you are
gut
controlled.
bacteria. You're talking about when they eat the shit, correct?
You drink bleach and
No.
then you eat some new stuff. Yeah.
No, it's all done. It's all done rectally. I mean,
Ooh.
Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
yeah.
Booftastic.
when
There's
the water guys in the army
It's the
accidentally put
deep
too much
booth.
chlorine in the water, they change out everybody's gut bacteria.
No, but like literally, like you don't realize how much of your brain and your everyday shit is controlled by your gut bacteria or the bacteria that's in your body or fungi that are in your body. Like you can take fat people, like really fat people, and then give them one of those fecal transplants from a skinny ass fucking person, and they start losing weight like super fast and become skinny. You can take somebody that's depressed, like chronic depression, and you can give them a fecal transplant from somebody that is super happy like me, which I'm a bundle of fucking sunshine, and they become super happy. And it's just really interesting about how much of your personality and your body and everything else is controlled by the bacteria and gut and just your biome. And it has nothing to do with your choices. Like you can choose to be happy as hell, but you're still going to be depressed if all these bacteria and everything is releasing hormones that say, hey, you need to be sedentary and depressed and sit here and eat Cheetos because it makes us happy.
So if I'm hyperactive and I eat the shit from a lazy person, will that mellow me out, or will I become lazy?
Yes.
Well, yes.
I just have to know who was the guy
Eat the poo-poo. Eat the poo-poo.
that decided a shit transplant was a good thing.
Well, it was
on House
what happened?
about 10 years ago.
It was before that. Fecal float transplants have been going on for a long time, and it all started with people who had cancer, and they were giving them a massive amounts of chemotherapy and radiation. It was killing off all the bacteria in their gut, and they were finding out they were literally starving to death. So they were taking a fecal transplant from somebody else who was healthy, usually a nurse or a doctor or something, and then they were just literally repopulating their gut. Now you're not eating the poo-poo. No eat the poo-poo.
Oh, so it's not from famous Dr. Eaton shits?
Eating shits, yeah. No. They put a tube way deep inside of you, all the way up. And then they just squirt.
Do they call you the next day?
So it's not just a steam and blumpkin, is what you're saying.
So they squirt in.
Do they give you a hug afterwards?
Blenderized. I imagine you could probably ask for one. Yeah. I mean, if I had ever had to go through one, I'm making fucking eye contact. Yeah,
I at least want to freak out if someone's doing it. Come on.
So
Hold my hand.
Yeah.
Excuse me,
And
but
then
I might have an erection.
Yeah. Don't
Dr.
even
Finger?
say excuse me. Just moan occasionally.
Yeah.
I'm
Hey,
making eye contact.
check me out.
Just be like, while making eye contact.
Oh,
Just do it. Yeah.
Sir, we haven't
Oh,
started
that's-
yet.
It's just certainly haven't started yet. It's I'm sorry, I'm just really excited about
You're
this.
Well,
We're
pressure
waiting
and
for
then you
this
put
my
both
whole
hands
life.
on your shoulders.
Anyway, so they started off with that, and they were giving people the fecal float transplant, and then they were noticing, like, holy shit, like, hey, this person has changed their behavior, and so there was a huge study done. John Hopkins did it with, in conjunction with another place. I don't remember who it was, but I remember John Hopkins was on it because I remember reading it. That they were talking about the behavior differences and different changes with fecal cult transplants and individuals. And it was just really, really fucking fascinating to me because it was like, you are controlled by your gut bacteria. Some people that crave sweets their entire life, if they got rid of the bacteria in their gut, they required sweets to like constantly replicate itself. And they replaced them with bacteria that liked cellulose-based stuff. They've turned those people from a fucking chocolate-eating machine to a fucking vegetarian. It's very, very, very interesting. It was very, very interesting.
Crazy.
See, shit's important.
Shit eaters.
Am I the only person here that reads?
Hey, I read.
I'm not a real big fan of scat, so that's not
I
really
don't
on my
read
reading list.
a whole lot of poo-poo stuff, yeah.
I was going to say, I'm not reading about shit. I'm reading about Charles Manson.
I mean, the closest thing I came to that was Two Girls, One Cup, but that was years ago.
Don't.
I'm
Not reading.
still scarred from that.
Well, I had the subtitles on.
What fucking subtitles? Gurgle, gurgle.
I swear to God, I had my first panic attack the first time I saw that. I was like, "Oh my!" I started hyperventilating. Oh my Lord!
No more chocolate soft serve.
Was the other
Turned it
fucked
off,
up
and I
one
said,
was
"I think I just
Lemon
got raped."
Party. Lemon Party was another one.
Remember the Pain Olympics?
I don't want to.
Or Faces of Death. Remember that video?
Oh yeah.
There's a few of them.
Oh
yeah.
Used to rent
Yeah,
that at a video store back in the day.
There was that one that went around for a long time. Was that guy who like sat on a fucking light bulb and it broke, or was it?
Oh, you put a jar up his ass.
Oh, and it broke. Yeah,
and it broke, and you just see the blood come out. It's like, oh, that didn't work.
Didn't that
Rectum,
Tucker
damn near
Carlson
killed him.
guy? Was it like that Tucker Carlson or somebody tried to do like a internet redemption thing for that guy?
Oh, shit.
What did they use? Bottles?
No.
Please, sir, try again.
Oh, so I got a funny story. This is one of those EMS stories. Okay, so here's a funny story. So a long time ago, back when I was a little baby EMS guy, that we'd have this individual that would call all the time because he was an online performer, right? Where he would stick stuff up his rectum, and then sometimes, occasionally, things would get stuck. But people would pay him to like bid on items that he would like place up himself. You know.
Well, here is this watermelon.
This is what's wrong with the world today. Okay, go ahead.
Here is an eggplant.
This guy was a very, very nice individual and somebody that we would all honestly really enjoy talking to on a regular basis. Really normal guy, you know. He was great. He was using his very gifted rectum to pay for his college and saving up money to start his own bakery. You know, like his own.
Oh my God! His ass was paying for a bakery.
Yeah, except that he was like you don't realize how much money this motherfucker was making. He was clearing, like after all the expenses, like clearing $25,000 to $40,000 a month.
He was like the original OnlyFans.
Expenses being like proctologist on call at all times, or
no, like insurance, medical bills, shit like that. We'd get a call maybe once a week or something like that. But a lot of the times it was just like he was lonely, right? It's not like he got like a lot of friends, right?
So he's putting gerbils on his ass?
No gerbils, just objects. So so I'll give you an example. We wouldn't tell the newbies who got hired like what exactly this guy did for a living, but just because it was kind of funny. But because he would, every time I went over there go and like help him out, he would always stop by later with like the most intricately baked goods and cakes and stuff like that. And none of us would eat them because we were like, we know what you do for a living. Like you literally spend 8 hours a day playing with your asshole. None of us are going to eat your fucking raspberry cake. Right?
Yeah. Hard to wash your hands enough for that.
Well, I imagine he was very, very clean because he was a very, very good guy. Like I don't stress this enough. Very likable individual, very professional individual outside of just his line of work. But like he had a kitchen that I would have fucking to this day kill somebody for. Like a Viking stove. Have you ever seen a Viking stove?
I have.
Yeah. So he had a fucking Viking double-decker goddamn stove.
Motherfucker.
Right? 16 fucking burners on top. And then he had a professional like bread proofer and like this dude's fucking serious about his chosen profession. And his baked goods were stellar, like beyond stuff that you would see in a regular store. Like $1 million, like, yeah, it was absolutely beautiful. But nobody would everybody was kind of like, held that like, hey, we know what you do for a living type thing. And so nobody would eat his cakes except for the fucking newbies. And we wouldn't tell them. Like, they've been eating his cakes and cookies until we showed up to his house on a call, which might be a month or two before that guy, the new person shows up to the freaking call. And you walk into a house that's just like floor to ceiling, like cakes and cookies and muffins and stuff. And he's like, realizes this is where this came from. Fuck! It's like,
it's not like he was pulling him out of his man purse or anything.
No, he wasn't. And he was a very nice guy. And I actually had bought stuff from him before to give to other people, like as gifts. Not that I would eat it.
As like Inky Cap gifts.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
just as gifts. Like he did these fucking muffins. To this day, I have no idea how he did them. We had a muffin pan. They would put out these like 2.5 pound fucking blueberry muffins. We're talking muffins the size of a fucking child's head, right? They were just fucking amazing and crumbly and beautiful. And he would charge like fucking $6 a fucking muffin. So I ordered like a couple dozen of them, and I would take them to the police station all the time. And they'll just ass muffins for you fuckers. Anyway,
eat this shit.
So I supported the guy. He did make good food, and I fed him to people that I didn't particularly get along with. Like,
so what happened to him?
It's a sad story.
Okay.
So anyway, so one time we get a call for this guy, right? And he was like, because you'd show up and he'd be like, doors open, and you
wouldn't believe what happened.
He'd be laying there, because he knew what position we wanted to pick him up in and stuff. So he'd be laying there on his side, left side or right side or whatever, like usually the left lateral, what's called the left lateral recumbent position. And so he'd be laying on his left side with his like little feet draws up and stuff like that. And we're like, what is it this time? And he'd be like, it's a light bulb. And so I'm like, okay, is it incandescent or compact fluorescent? And he's like, compact.
It's Christmas lights.
And he said compact.
There's 3 of them.
He said compact fluorescent. And so I'm like, fuck, that took some skill. Like, you got to understand, like, the skill to get a compact fluorescent, one of the spiral type ones up.
Those curly Q motherfuckers.
Without a break.
He just pulled it in there like a fucking screw. He's a
master of his fucking art.
Counterclockwise, man.
Wow.
Himself.
Unscrew it.
So anyway, we would run on this guy religiously, like on fucking like Wednesdays and Fridays, right?
Hump day.
And it would just a lot of times it would just be just to go, hey, let's go see how so and so is doing, and go stop by and bullshit for a few minutes. He was lonely, and there's probably about 45% of fucking EMS is dealing with lonely people. Whether it's like old people that you need to go pick up their mail for, or just fucking stop in and say hi to them. It's community outreach stuff. Just stopping and saying hi to somebody, a lot of the times will stop that fucking person who used to call once a day for the fire department from calling, right? Just because they're lonely. Well, so we'd stop by and see him like twice a week. Well, nobody heard from him for like a fucking week. We were like, hey, has anybody heard from so-and-so? We're like,
you found him
no.
hanging from a chandelier in
No.
the living room in front of his ass?
No. So somebody had shipped him a small, like a kid's bicycle tire, right?
Oh, God.
Like a 10-inch, like, kid's bicycle tire. I guess it was like a 12-inch kid's bicycle tire. And then he was like, no. Like, all the screen was, like, up and stuff like that. So he was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Well, the guy had gotten up to an absurd amount of money, like $50,000. And then, so he finally did it and used the inflator that the person sent with him. And it inflated it like super fucking fast and killed it. It popped. And it took out his rectum, his colon, and the whole 9 yards. And he ended up bleeding out on his crawl to the fucking phone to call for help.
Damn,
And
that's weird.
they ended up actually charging the person that sent the shit to him with fucking murder. But yeah, because he literally did murder him because he didn't like, that whole what the guy did for a living.
For ass slaughter.
They filmed that shit, and nobody called for help for him. Or I guess maybe
nobody called for help for him or anything like that. His IP and everything was recorded, but like you could go back on his fucking live stream and watch when it happened and he died.
That's horrible.
Like when the look on his face is like instantly turns fucking white and then started crawling away. But like we found him with it looked like somebody just taken a mop and dropped it in like fucking blood and drug it behind him.
Oh no.
He bled out within like 10 feet. I mean, he was dead within maybe 45 seconds. But so he was very well known and very well liked to the community. It was a very smaller community because he was just a really nice guy. Like anything that happened at church, he was there for the church. He was baking at the church. He was helping everybody else out. He just had a really weird fucking job, right?
He's boofing Bibles.
Yeah.
But wait, I have a serious question though. I mean,
yeah.
Did you ever hear him fart? Was like a
No, did not. But actually, this is one of those stories that doesn't have a good feeling and happy ending because I actually feel really bad for the guy. He was very, very likable. He was a very, very personal guy. He knew exactly how embarrassing it was, what he did, and he tried his best to make you comfortable with his embarrassment. Right? Does that make sense? And he was a very nice guy. You even would have had a modicum of couth around him, Deadpool, even though that's outside of the norm.
Challenge accepted. I believe you. I am a very personable person.
Well,
but he was
I feel
very
sorry
nice.
for him. I didn't even know him. It's
he was
the saddest story I've ever heard.
Really nice guy.
I mean, that's that's
his house was fucking cool. So he had a guy come in from Spain with hand painted tiles, and his whole fucking house done as like a mosaic that told a story, right? It told the story of the history of fucking Spain, you could walk. And I don't know if this is enough for somebody to figure out who this fucker was, because his house was absolutely beautiful. Like it could have been like the eighth wonder of the world. So he had all these tiles, like Sateo tiles, but the tiles were individually painted. So it told the story of the history of fucking Spain from the time when, you got the gazelle and shit running around and Neanderthals hunting them all the way up to modern day. And if you just followed the tiles throughout his house, it told the story of everything. It was fucking gorgeous. He'd probably spent, $250,000 just in hand-painted tiles.
The story of his life on tile, starting a little one with a matchbox all the way up to a fucking watermelon.
No, it was beautiful. His house was beautiful, and nobody ever bought his house. Like after he died, nobody ever bought his house. They ended up getting torn down by the city.
Like living somewhere that someone was I don't know, like haunted or something. The shit that happened in there. You got to go to bed.
Yeah,
nightmares.
It was a beautiful house. Beautiful.
Wake it up. Oh yes.
Yeah, but anyway.
Right.
Outdoor cultivation.
Outdoor cultivation.
103 minutes and 17 seconds.
How about them Yankees? Yeah.
We've ran across a lot of people growing weed outdoors, like in EMS and stuff like that.
Right.
But not a lot of people growing mushrooms outdoors. It's very popular here in Texas to grow weed outdoors, but not mushrooms.
Have you encountered a lot of mushroom freakouts?
No, actually, I've only had one mushroom freakout, and that was because this little freaking Karen lady took some. Okay, so it was at a wedding, right? And this wedding, this person had said, "Okay, listen, there's 2 different sets. If you don't want drugs, eat only the shit off of the white plates, okay? And if you want drugs and are cool with drugs, eat shit off of the psychedelic plates." Okay, so she had a bunch of finger foods like brownies, cookies, chocolates, all sorts of shit. And And so it was just like mushrooms and weed, right? It was nothing fucking insane. It wasn't like she had like fucking coke or anything like that. She just had, like the green psychedelic swirly plates had fucking weed on them. The regular psychedelic swirly plates had like chocolates on them that had fucking mushrooms in them. They didn't even have fucking LSD or anything. This Karen bitch was mad that they weren't putting more like brownies out on the white plate. So she went over and ate one of the fucking psychedelic mushroom ones and threw a fucking fit. Like, I don't know what demons that girl had inside of her, but they all came out. And she had some serious fucking issues. Like, you know how some people, when they freak out, like, you can tell, like, oh, yeah, your grandpa touched you. Like, that girl has some fucking issues. She was angry at everybody. And I never seen anybody angry on a fucking mushroom trip. She was fucking, like, rabid, pissed off. So,
I don't think I've ever seen an angry trip, ever.
no, she was angry, like, foaming at the fucking mouth, pissed. I'm like, what is she on? Are you sure that all she's on are fucking mushrooms? Like, yeah, she ate one of them. She said she was fucking tired of waiting on the thing, and she needs something sweet to eat now. And so she ate one of those. We warned her not to. And so she probably had like 2.5 fucking 3 grams of freaking mushrooms and a little bitty like chocolate bite. And she became just really, really aggressive to the point where we ended up using like Versed. And I just stabbed her in the fucking side of her thigh. 5 milligrams of calm the fuck down with Versed. And we ended up giving her like 3 rounds of Ativan on the way to the hospital. But she was just fucking pissed. She was so pissed. But I think it's just more like a personality enhancer. If you're a dick and you eat like something that's going to alter your personality, you're going to be a bigger dick. Like the same thing with alcohol. Alcohol is just like a personality enhancer. You might be able to be a fucking dick and, outwardly, and then you drink and you're a super happy person. Well, the outwardly part might be just fucking bullshit and you're actually a super happy person. Or you could be a super happy person and drink and you're just a total fucking jackass. And I've met people that are both ways. And it just seems to be that, like, if you take away the veneer of, like, humanity away from people with some sort of psychedelic or some sort of drug of some type, then you're going to see who they really are. And if she became a rabid fucking mongoose of hate and horror, then that's probably who the fuck she was on the inside. Does it make sense?
Oh, yeah.
God, she was so bitey. Like, she tried to bite people. And everybody else there is having a great time. Like, let's laughing and having a great time. Like, oh, shit, she's going to bite you.
Are you allowed to, like, slap them on the forehead when they do that?
No, but you could use, well.
Like, like, no. This quick little, not hard, just a little whack.
Like a puppy. Like a
exactly.
fucking puppy.
Exactly.
No.
Instead of a billy club, he's got a rolled up newspaper.
Bad. No.
No. But you can do a bunch. You can do a bunch of things. Like you could choke someone else as long as you record it as applied carotid restraint, like quotation marks at there. But no, like she was really, really angry. We ended up just having the cops handcuff her and throw her down on the cot, and then gave her some Versed and a whole bunch of Ativan. And she was still a very, very, very angry person for about 4 hours. And then she was released from the ER, and she was like apologizing profusely. But at that point, she'd hurt everybody's feelings, from like the lowly helper to like the fucking dude that's taking the trash out of the hospital. She had managed to fucking insult everybody. Like,
that takes
I don't. Yeah,
Wait,
I don't know how.
What did you call that? A carotid pressure?
Well, carotid restraint.
What do you call like a full Nelson? Is that like an extremity restraint, or I mean,
we would. No, you would have to be applied rotational arm pressure until the individual using joint lock applied rotational arm pressure using joint lock techniques until submission was and compliance was received. So
I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do pretty much whatever the fuck you want as long as you have you document it correctly. So, yeah, we would just like. There's been several times where we needed to take somebody that was really, really fucked up and like super bitey, or just thought they were fucking Superman or God or something, and choke them out because that's the only way you can get them to stop like stabbing other people, and or biting someone or ripping someone's face off. And you have to apply carotid restraint until the individual became complacent.
The chloroform. You ever smell this?
Yeah. Oh, dude. That's just a pickup line. That's just dating.
Here, taste this.
Yeah. Here, drink this has been my pickup line forever. That's how I found my wife. Right, honey?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's not even. She's been really quiet.
She's on Reddit.
So.
She's
Yeah. Well, here, drink this is how I got my wife.
No, he serenaded me with champagne and fresh figs from a tree.
That is.
We make me sound.
He walked me through the garden and showed me all his plants. Gave me some champagne and some fresh figs.
You're so sweet.
No.
Then he made me shoot my own quail
for dinner
and make quail for dinner.
Yeah.
You had me like snap its neck.
You pulled its head off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then you developed a giant murder boner for quail.
I did. It's my favorite hunt.
That's what I fell in love with my wife. Is because like after all this me being sweet and just getting into her panties thing, right? Then like we go out hunting like the next freaking day for quail, and she is like, we've got this Jeep, right? That's like a top driver with the doors off. It's a hunting Jeep, and she jumps out the fucking door after some blue quail. And blue quails run like 20 miles an hour, right? Like they don't fuck around. So if they're running through the cactus and mesquite and shit, she just bails the fuck out the door and takes off running across the fucking desert, irregardless of the fucking like cactus and mesquite and shit. She just she's bowling through that shit, firing her little 20 gauge fucking shotgun. Or you had the 12 gauge at the time, right?
Yeah, we had the 12
Yeah, the
gauge.
12 at the time.
I had a big bruise.
Just firing the fucking shit at this damn thing, at this damn quail. And she's like, I got some. And I'm like, the whole time I'm sitting there like drinking a beer, watching her. I'm like, God damn, that's beautiful.
Oh, dream weaver.
He's singing Foxy Lady.
I was like, oh wow, she might be a winner there. It was a good time.
That's awesome. Awesome song.
A beautiful thing.
Right? It was fantastic.
Winner, quail dinner.
Yeah, you did a great job. Then you went and shot the biggest fucking deer on the ranch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to be done.
She shot the biggest fucking deer on the ranch. Nobody else had shot a deer that year. And she goes and is like, hey.
First time hunting ever.
Yeah, and she just like goes and fucking shoots this deer like, was it 122 yards?
Right in the heart.
Right, the fucking AR just like straight in the fucking heart.
Damn.
Excellent.
That's in the bloodline, it sounds like. Just natural.
Right? Exactly. And then I made the mistake of taking this super crazy murdery Mexican and teaching her to stab things. And now I have to watch my back constantly.
Wasn't it Jacques Cousteau that had that his sidekick would always try and surprise him? Is it one of those situations?
Well, no. My wife just, she's really good at it. She just like pops out behind the corner. You might be going to the bathroom. You might be making dinner. You might be putting the groceries in. You might be driving on the fucking highway. And she's just like, stab! Shake.
Situational awareness.
Exactly. Fucking yeah. Except she just like, I've gotten to where I can look at her body language. She's tensing up. I'm like, twitch. Oh shit. You know? It's like she's about to start stabbing.
Stabby, stab.
Was that first time that you ever did mushrooms with me?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I started cleaning like crazy.
Yeah, I think I told that story before. we had like serious time warp, and then like you just cleaned like crazy, and I was like, it's been 20 minutes. In that 20 minutes, you cleaned everything.
It was like Consuela to the 100th power.
Yeah.
Like,
You did a great job.
I don't understand why I had the need to clean everything.
Yeah. Worked out
That's
great.
not a bad thing, you know.
Well, now
all the dirt.
she microdoses and finds out that it really helps her with like her job, you know, like being on top of everything and being creative and everything.
Yes.
It helps
Yes,
with
it
creativity. Also, too, like when I'm in a funk, like if I feel a little depressed during the day or whatever, then I'll just dose and just get over it.
Nice. Excellent.
I was going to throw the Parmesan cheese at her daughter because she was saying, hey, but
She said excelente.
oh, she just wanted us to look at it. Anyway, guys, anybody else have anything to add to outdoor growing or my wife stabbing me or people transplants? Okay, go ahead.
When you have contaminated bag or tub, don't just throw it away. Don't just think it's garbage. Mycelium wants to grow. They want a fruit. Matter of fact, when it does become infected with something, or it's going to fruit even faster to try to get out of there and chase the spores. Put it outside, get it away from the house, and just let nature take its course. 75% of the time, you'll get fruit out of there. That's it.
Amen, brother.
Yeah.
Preach to the choir.
Yeah.
I've done that before with I had a jar of black pearl king oysters that became really, really, really infected with trich, and the jar became grass green.
Oof.
And I have pictures of it. I think I've shown everybody pictures of it. And I took it outside and just set it outside. And it got some sunlight on it. It got some air on it and stuff like that. The trich died. The white came back, and it fruited like a motherfucker.
Yep.
So, yeah, there's something to
It's
that.
the UV. It's the UV.
Yeah, it's got to be that. It's got to be that. But, all right, guys, so if anybody doesn't have anything else to add, let's go ahead and wrap this up and start with everybody has something positive to say. We're going to start with Deadpool as usual, just because we love throwing him under the bus. What do you got?
I mean, I am a little bit inebriated, so I might not be as good as normal. But how about just everything happens for a reason? I mean, sometimes the reason is you're stupid and make bad decisions. Think ahead.
America.
America.
Fuck yeah.
All right, Michael, what do you got for us?
Well, for tonight, I'd say, everyone goes through storms, but there's always one guarantee after a storm. There's always a rainbow looking at you after it's all done.
Unless it's nighttime and you're just fucked. It's darkness forever.
Yeah, then you're fucked,
All right, Trim, what do you got, buddy?
I got a special one for you guys. You know how everybody has that fancy sign above their bed that says live, laugh, love?
Yeah.
I got an idea for your guys over your bed on your new house. How about
All right.
learn from yesterday, live for today, and hope for mushrooms?
Yes.
I like it.
I love it.
We should make
That's
that
a
one.
bumper sticker right there.
That's
Yeah.
going to be on the fucking Etsy site.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Fuck, just send me that in a fucking text so I remember to put it on the Etsy site.
Will do, sir.
I love it.
All right, wife, what do you got?
Just like in these unknown times, people are anxious, people are losing their jobs. Just be kind, just be sweet, do something for somebody without having to blast it on social media and make a show about it. Just do something sweet to somebody. You never know how it's going to turn their day around.
That's very
Awesome.
Very
awesome.
nice. It's 1,000 times nicer than what I was going to say, and now I want to revise what I was going to say.
Life's a shit sandwich. Just take a bite.
Embrace the suck.
Yeah.
So coming
I
from
think-
me is you never know what your neighbor is going to go through as you're going through right now. You never know what the person next to you is going through. Have an open mind. Look for signs that somebody is depressed or somebody needs a helping hand. And don't be afraid to help them. Look out for your elderly neighbors. Look out for other people around you. It doesn't cost you a damn thing to make one extra trip to go pick up their mail or help somebody out. It might improve their day and it might make them happy. And making somebody else happy is probably the ultimate goal in your life, is sharing your life with other people, whether it's in small little acts of care and kindness or in large acts of adopting a random lonely old person and making them a random crazy uncle. You never know. They might be a millionaire.
Yeah, you might just get in their will pretty quick.
Anybody else have anything else to add? If not, we're going to wrap this crazy shit up.
See y'all
later.
All right. So thank you for listening to this episode of the shit show. Fuck Around and Find Out podcast. If you need any sort of cultivation supplies, you need any sort of grain spawn or substrate, you can get a hold of Deadpool. He is always in our Discord. He's in pretty much everybody's Discord. He spreads like herpes or glitter. All right.
Yeah,
so you can always
he spreads
the truth
like
is a virus.
like trick.
Yeah. Stripper glitter. He's basically the stripper glitter of fucking Discord. So he's always easy to find. We will put our link to our Discord in the show notes. If you would like to send us any sort of money, you can go ahead and do that as a tip in our Cash App. It's going to be $FAFOCult. You can do it for our Venmo, which is going to be at FAFOCult. If you would like to send us an email to show up on our show, ask a question, harass us, criticize, tell us we all fucking suck, you can do that at fafocult@gmail.com. Yeah, as always, you can get on our Etsy. Our Etsy is fafocult.etsy.com. We love our listeners, and you guys are doing a great job of picking up in Australia. Australia now makes 7% of our listeners. You know that?
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah, 7% of our fucking listeners.
There's
almost more listeners right now in Australia than there are in Europe and the UK. So, you Aussies, if you want to come on and talk about your crazy wood-loving mushrooms and how you guys end up with what is it, that couch lock thing that they get from their mushrooms?
Oh yeah, from the wood.
Yeah, the wood lovers. Now they end up getting like couch lock, mushroom paralysis. We'd love to have you on. The going, I think, theory is that is caused by the tannins in the wood.
Shit.
We'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that. We love you guys. Another shout out is going to go to Thailand, who's making up 4% of our total listener volume. You guys are kicking ass. We're happy to have you on. And surprisingly, China is at 5%. 5% of our listeners.
I can't believe they're allowed to listen to us in China.
I don't think they're allowed to listen to us. I think they're mostly using like proxies and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but I'm really interested. Yeah, I'm really interested to know that, like, hey, there's a bunch of people in China that are doing, psychedelics or are very just interested in what these crazy Americans have to say. Well, we love you guys, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the Discord. Thank you much.
Much love.
Peace.